All right, and we're back for another episode of the Sports Department Podcast with Justin Valentovic, Stephen Clark, and Stephen Bologna. And we're back to finally talk a little bit of baseball. It's been a while, probably a little over 2-3 weeks at this point, but we got some news to talk about too many unwritten rules. There are still a billion more no-hitters. Mets, they're continuously getting hurt. The Yankees have some injury problems in their own right. Shohei Ohtani has been all the hype he's been basically, and he's living up to it at this point. And should the Twins sell? But we'll get all into that in a little bit. But guys, what's going on?
I'm doing okay. Good intro there, Justin. Quick and to the point. I like
exactly. Got to get to it. It's all about the hook.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Exactly.
I love it. Justin, I'm doing fantastic. The weather has been very, very beautiful here in New Jersey the last couple of days. Nice hot summer is warming up really, really nicely. NBA playoffs are on their way, so I'm enjoying that. I know the Wizzies are playing today, so I know you're very excited.
So are the Knicks. Oh, the Knicks.
Yeah, I know. But
how'd the Heat do yesterday?
Not too swell. But like you said, it's only game one. Lost game to the Bucks. I said this on. When we did the NBA podcast, I said it's not going to be a rematch of last year's finals. Neither of those teams are going back to the finals, but can't go back every year. But anyways, I'm doing well overall, Justin.
Unless you're LeBron James. Well, no, he went to like 10 straight finals for like a decade, basically.
He's the greatest basketball player of all time. What do you expect?
But let's talk about some baseball, and let's talk about Jesse's Chicago White Sox. Earlier in the week, I feel like every year we do this conversation at least 2 to 3 times about the unwritten rules of baseball, sportsmanship, blah, 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 all the things, someone hits, someone on your team, you go after them, you peg them with a ball and you play beanball, and it was all that crap. So earlier in the week, Yermin Mercedes swung on a 3-0 pitch against the Minnesota Twins when they had a position player pitching when they were losing 13-2, I think it was, and he went yard and hit a bomb. And Tony La Russa basically was upset by that. And for those who don't know, Tony La Russa is the Chicago White Sox manager. And basically, at least it appears that there's some divide between the players and La Russa. When he was hired, I remember we kind of said, how is this going to work? Because he's the old man in the room with a very young, fun, energetic team. And it's kind of happening already. And the old unwritten rules just need to go away at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't agree with La Russa here. Yermin Mercedes is still a guy. He's had a great season. Still a guy fighting for playing time because there is a better catcher than him on the roster. How can you tell a player there's a 65-mile-an-hour fastball coming right down the plate, you're not allowed to swing, or you're wrong for swinging? That doesn't make sense. The point of baseball is to swing the bat and score as many runs as possible. Where was the unwritten rule when the Rangers put up 30 on the Orioles?
Yeah, they kept going.
Exactly.
Well,
I'm not a fan of this.
Because here's my point. The Orioles then, even though it was like a blowout by the third inning, they kept legitimate MLB pitchers in. The way I see it is, as long as you have pitchers in the game, you are trying to come back and you're trying to stay in the game. Now, they might suck and blow up, and that's on them. But the second you put a position player in, you're effectively punting on the game. And then anything after that doesn't really matter anymore because you're waving the white flag with the position player because you're trying to save a bullpen arm. And that's what the Twin did. So at that point, who cares what happens then? Because you're already giving up.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you guys. I agree with both of you guys, but I'm trying to look at the situation from the other point of view, just from La Russa's standards. And I get what he's saying. I understand he's the old-fashioned baseball man, and he's not very new school, and he's not up to date with all like the new trends and all the new players and all that stuff. And like you see it now more than ever, like with all like the fashion stuff of people pulling up to the games and like the YouTube videos and everything. It's very modernized. Baseball's starting to get very modernized, and he's not a part of that right now. And I understand that. It's hard for old people to change their views on stuff. I 100% get what he's saying, but you got to adapt and learn how to change your mindset on a bunch of things.
And it's like, I understand sportsmanship. Like, I know when we would get blown out in softball, it'd suck when, they keep running up the score, but it's just like, you play till the game's over. Get an out.
And what makes me laugh is that this happened against a division rival, your biggest division rival. I guarantee you if the Twins were on the other side of that, they're not going to stop hitting home runs.
Well, that was like
Tim Anderson's on the mound.
Like the Rangers, their manager, their name escapes me. When Musgrove threw the no-hitter, he was upset because they were rubbing it in. That like they threw a no-hitter. Like that went back to the Tatis last year where he hit a grand slam, I think it was.
Is it Woodward still?
Who cares? It doesn't matter. But it's just the get off my lawn old men of baseball just need to go away. And they're the reason why, baseball is boring at some points. And that's why, Trevor Bauer, even though he's the biggest ass in baseball, if we're being quite honest, he makes baseball fun and marketable. Like how he struck out someone on the Giants and he did it like a sword celebration as if he's putting away his weapon. It's like, that's what you need.
Yeah. And then when he was getting taken out of the game the other night, like the fans were booing him and he was like doing like the Hulk Hogan, like, I can't hear your ass right now. Like it's fun. You have to have personalities and characters in the game. And like going back to my point, you have to learn how to adapt to the new style of the game. It's what's going to make it mainstream again. It used to be the biggest sport for many, many years before I'd say football has taken that over by now. But
WWE.
Hey, it's real.
It's almost number 3 now because the NBA is spiked. The NFL is king. NFL will always be king if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Like they're close to falling behind the NBA.
And this is coming from a guy with La Russa who had a DUI before the season and said, "I'm Tony La Russa. You have to let me go. Don't give me a ticket."
He's literally a Hall of Fame manager with a World Series contending team. It's like, dude, just go along for the ride. You literally don't need this.
I don't agree with this. And then him saying, "I'm okay if you throw out my batters. I recommend it."
Well, and then there's the whole thing with Lance Lynn, where Lance Lynn's like, I don't agree with it. And he's like, he has a locker, I have an office. Like, okay, bro, like we get it. You're the manager. It's like, how much are you actually doing?
Yeah. Not a fan.
Nope, me neither.
Yeah, the unwritten rules need to go bye-bye. And over time, I think they will, because the new players, they're younger and they really don't care as much. So let's see how that goes eventually. And let's switch things over to the Yankees, unfortunately. And that's with earlier. What? No. We're
unfortunately, a little bias over here.
Well, we're starting with it a little bit. Well, it's in the same category there's an Oriole in the same category as this Yankee. Corey Kluber earlier in the week as well threw a no-hitter, which is the 6th of the season, 24 hours after Spencer Turnbull of the Detroit Tigers threw a no-hitter, which was the 5th. And now Joe Musgrove, Carlos Rodon, Wade Miley, John Means, Turnbull, and Kluber have all thrown no-hitters, 6 so far in 2 months into the season. Basically, at this rate, at what point is it too many no-hitters, and is it good or bad for baseball? Because Don Mattingly said it kind of makes the game unwatchable at times with how high strikeout rates are, and it's not really like an embarrassment to strike out anymore. People don't care, and that's kind of what's leading to these no-hitters, I think, almost. You
have to question, is it something with the balls potentially? Because, I mean, last year and the past 10 years have been the year of the long ball, and they reportedly made some changes to it. I was reading an article that said Rob Manfred said the ball's wrapped like tighter or something like that, like the stitches are tighter. So listen, I'll be honest, watching a no-hitter 7th inning on is awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It makes a regular season game important.
I agree. 1 through 6, you're like, all right, strikeout. It's kind of not fun, but at the same time, the no-hitters have come against teams that no one really watches. With the
3
the
teams got no hit.
Well,
that's the thing. 3 teams got no hit twice, and they're all bad teams for the most part. The Mariners is probably the best out of all of them, which isn't saying much. It's going into where we're kind of seeing it now, where there's a video floating around. You guys love to bring it up, that John Means is cheating with pine tar. That's because every single pitcher is using some form of either pine tar or some other little bit of substance to get a better grip on the ball, which gives them better break and better control. It's almost the complete opposite of how they got blown up, like you said, Steve, 2-3 years ago, starting with the juiced ball era. Now they deaden the ball this year. It's almost like it's the steroid era, but for the pitchers at this rate, because we're seeing Max Scherzer, 35 years old, 15 Ks. Jacob deGrom, 32, 14 Ks, 15 Ks. It's just insane. It goes down to the hitting as well, the hitting approach, because everyone's trying to go yard. And if you don't, oh well.
Clark, no, it's funny.
Tell me.
Justin Valentovic.
It's a non-story.
The Astros cheat.
Cheat.
Astros, you're terrible for doing that. John Means allegedly cheats. Everyone does it. It's okay. Everyone does it.
Justin, just because a bunch of kids are all like a bunch of college kids are all doing like cocaine in the corner of the school, just because every single one of them are doing it does not mean it's legal, Justin. That's what you have to understand here. But anyways, that's besides the point of this whole conversation. Again, not forming much of a debate here, but I agree with you guys as well. I'm more like going into like baseball week after week now, I'm looking forward to like, oh, who's gonna throw it now? Like, it's not like when's it gonna pop up? It's like, oh, who's throwing one this week and whatever.
Like Musgrove throw one. Okay, cool. Start of the season. Rodon threw it like the next week. All right. 2-3 weeks went by. Then Means threw his. 3 days later, Wade Miley threw his. literally a week later, Turnbull threw in, and then less than 24 hours later, Kluber. At that point, like they're awesome to see, but it's like this is just getting stupid at this point. Like how fast they're coming.
And no offense to Means, of course, but if I didn't really know you, I probably wouldn't have known much about Means or anything.
Well, that's the thing. Out of all these pitchers,
no names for the most part. These pitchers,
other than Kluber,
other than Kluber, yeah, they're all no names for the most part, and I think that's just hilarious that you got like Garrett Cole, you got Jacob deGrom, you got Kershaw, you got Bauer, you got all these top names, and those guys aren't doing it. And you have these mid to lower card pitchers.
Wade Miley, of all people.
And it's weird seeing multiple no-hitters in one day, twice.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And we almost had a third with, who was it? Lizardo?
Manaea. The same
day.
Like
to the seventh. That's the same as Miley and Means.
Yeah.
Like I'm on the boat of give me a grand slam instead of a no-hitter at this point. Like I saw Acuna did it the other night a couple times. I think he did it twice this weekend or once. I don't know.
He's been awesome.
He's been on fire. But I'd rather see a grand slam at this point compared to a no-hitter. That's how much it's being repeated.
So depending on where you check the records, it's either 7 or 8 for the record in a single season in the live ball era, which is I think post 1930. Who cares at that point, right? Do we see the record be broken?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
We're on too much of a quick pace for it not to break.
Yeah, even if we don't get one all in the month of June, you still got July, you got August to do it, and you got a little bit in September too. Like, it's bound to happen. And are we counting Bumgarner's too in this? Like 6.5 are we at right now? Or
I think it should count, but the official ruling says no. But that's because he threw the max innings he was allotted to throw. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Game, there was a 0.
Yes,
like he said this in his interview. At the end of the game, there was a 0 under the hit column for the opposing team. So if you ask me, that's a no hitter. Give it the 6.5. If you ask me.
Well, and if they're going to keep the 7-inning doubleheader, they need to address that at some point. Now, last point on the no hitters, since there have been 6, does it devalue them almost at that point?
I mean, I think yes, because they're happening against the same teams.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, the Mariners got no hit. It's like, wow, you hit the Mariners too. It's like they're a bad team. Like this.
Well, that's the thing, because the Rangers, talent-wise, I think, are the worst team in baseball. Like they have no talent at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
pretty much.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's not like the Yankees went out and got no hit. As much as I'd love to see that, or the Padres, or the Dodgers. Like it's bad teams getting no hit. So it's like, okay,
expected.
Yeah.
Expected. Yeah, no, I agree. It's taken away a little bit from, all of it, but what are you going to do? It's a combo of everything. It's the ball taking the juice out. I think it's like a smaller, more compact ball this year too. I've read or something that it's easier to throw. And of course the substances that are being used too.
John Means.
It's just
check Kluber's balls.
Whoa, hey, yo, leave that to his doctor.
You could do that, Justin, not me.
I mean, but it's just
on that one.
It's just a combo of things that are ruining it, and they need to really just like take a step back, look at what's going on, and address this head on. But it's not going to change for this season. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, so let's switch it and keep it up with the Yankees. They've been doing all right for the most part, getting by. Well, they've been winning. They've been clicking. But
Justin will never give him credit. So
they're doing fantastic now.
Well, no surprise here. Aaron Hicks went out with a wrist injury, I believe, and he's out for the year, leaving center field a wide open gap. And what should their plan be? Because they got old man Gardy on the roster still, so you have to assume maybe he'll go out there. But Clint Frazier has been abysmal offensively, but good defensively. Bad offensively, good defensively, which is a complete shift from what he used to be, where he would hit a ball a mile and couldn't field to save his life. Stanton's on the IL, and Judge is, ticking time bomb for an injury. So at this point, what should their move be for center field long term for at least this season?
I think you have to make a trade. I think you got to explore the trade market. Reports are saying they're talking with Texas about Delino to Shields. You can't roll out Brett Gardner in center field. You trade Mike Tauchman for Wandy Peralta, who's terrible. And, that obviously you make that move without knowing Hicks is getting hurt.
But also Tauchman was such a serviceable, good defensive outfielder, and he could hit a little bit too.
Better than Gardner. He's Gardner, but better. And, it's since Hicks signed that contract, he has not been good at it.
Well, he signed it and immediately had to get Tommy John. And that was 2 years basically down the drain. And now the wrist injury where he's basically out for the whole season.
Yeah.
3 out of the 4 years already are a wash almost.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Florial gets the call up. You give him some time, see if he can be serviceable at least.
Well, they just need something for outfield depth because during Kluber's no-hitter, Tyler Wade was playing right field.
That was
Yeah.
weird. That was weird. Yeah, and he made a fantastic catch out there too. It's very lucky that Kluber got that. But yeah, no, I agree with Steve in the situation. You got to make a trade somewhere, somehow. I don't know who's willing to give up someone, but yeah, can't keep the guys who you're throwing out there. Keep throwing them
And
out
it can't
there.
be Ryan Lemaire or whoever I've never heard of. I think he had 9 at bat. Exactly.
Yeah.
He played a game for the Yankees in center field. You got to assume maybe Andujar gets sent out somewhere for somebody, because now that almighty Yankee depth that they had, 2-3 years ago, it's kind of dried up for the most part. Dominguez is literally not even eligible to come up, and he's years away. Florial most likely, but he's kind of fallen off the top.
Florial's been ready for like the past 3 years. They just don't call him up. So clearly they know he's not ready. So, but I mean, give him the call up. Let him play a week. If he shits the bed, you send him down. If he looks good, keep him there. You can even play him in center and DH him.
Yeah.
If you really want to.
Because right now, you'd go probably Frazier, Gardner, Judge in the outfield, and then kind of assume, maybe a fourth outfielder. But right now, Andujar is almost the fourth outfielder, which is bizarre.
I mean, Stanton healthy, he'll be your
but he'll just be sitting in the DH spot. They don't even dare to put him out in the outfield because they don't want him to get hurt.
Don't blame them. Don't blame them at all for doing that either.
He was on a tear too, which hurts, but
yeah, he was.
The starting pitching has saved the Yankees. Thank goodness. I mean, Gerrit Cole is just unstoppable. Domingo Germán's been doing really well as of late.
Yeah, the trip down to the alternate site definitely helped him out.
Kluber's been obviously through a no-hitter, but he's been solid.
Since May, really, he's turned it around, because April was a train wreck for him.
Tyone has not worked out. He's kind of Montgomery's solid when he has to be. I mean, you look at the Yankees, they win the series against the Orioles, and they win against Texas, and you're like, okay, it's the Orioles and Texas. But then they go out and beat the White Sox the past 2 days, and, that's
a significant win.
Exactly, with a lot of injuries. So, it's looking good. They're definitely back on track.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely see them making a move for a center fielder at this point, because they just need it. They need depth. And wouldn't it be nice to have Tauchman again? But nothing you can do there. That is in the past. So let's keep it in New York and talk about the New York Metropolitan.
Baby.
Syracuse Mets.
And they are very, very similar now to the 2019 Yankees, where it's who the hell are these people playing for this team? But they're continuously winning. And it's the bench mob, as they like to be called. They like to they still win. Fargus, I don't even know how to pronounce his first name. Guillermo
John Shui,
whatever. Pilar's face is literally broken, so he's out for a while. Almora, after running full speed into the wall like a Looney Tune, he's out.
Yeah.
And depth, this is very 2019 Yankee reminiscent of it for the Mets.
Yeah, it's not even the depth of the team. It's the depth. It's the bench mob's bench mob. It's literally, you got AAA guys playing for the Mets right now. I believe I saw 16 people on the injured list, 16, solid almost every day, plus some of the bench guys, like you said, Almora, Pilar, and Guillorme. But
he has a face.
Oh my God, yeah. But they're getting the job done, and that's all I can ask for right now.
That's all that matters. It's wins. It doesn't matter who's playing. It's wins.
Yeah, I'm not even expecting wins at this point, but they're giving us wins, and I really can't complain. Granted, it's been the Marlins for the last couple of games, and the Rays was a tough series and all that. But Atlanta, you won 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, so that was fantastic, and they're a really good baseball team. But it's shocking. It's very shocking how they're still like 2.5 games in first place, I think, and with all the AAA Syracuse guys up there, Khalil Lee, John Shui Fargus, and Jake Hager. It's just crazy. It's ridiculous.
Who are these people? Also, Thomas Nito's been hitting really well, and it's like he's been throwing out runners. He's been hitting. It's like, James McCann, what do you do here?
McCann's been
Yeah, and you're seeing it too with Rojas, who I give so much criticism for, but he's actually starting Nito a lot more, which he deserves too.
He's riding the hot hand at this point, and it's working.
Yeah, and honestly, stick with it until he starts going into a slump, because McCann has not been the best. I mean, McCann on defense, phenomenal. He puts the throws, pinpoint to second base and all that, but he can't hit for his life. So I'm cool with just riding with Nito right now for the time being. Yeah.
And plus, the cavalry's on their way. DeGrom's coming back, Lugo's coming back, and Syndergaard's on his way back as they all threw. It was so funny to see on Twitter where they threw for the Port St. Lucie Mets, which is the single A team, I think.
Single A, yeah.
So it went DeGrom, Lugo, Syndergaard against 19, 20-year-olds, and they got absolutely mowed down against, I think it was the Cardinals single A affiliate.
Yeah,
So
the Cardinals.
That's got to suck.
It's gotta suck, but it's also going to be like, hey, I don't know if I'm making it to the majors, but I'm going against one of the best pitchers in the league right now, and I'm also going against a couple other standout guys in Lugo and Syndergaard. So it's cool for them, and I know Syndergaard bought the whole team like out back and like in and out and stuff. So it's cool stuff. Little by little, we'll start getting healthy again. As long as we stay above 500 and try to be in first or second place before everyone gets healthy, this team could be scary in the coming summer. It could be very scary when everyone's healthy.
The true test is the upcoming month of June, and that's always been the train wreck month for the Mets, where they're cruising, right now, kind of what they are, 3-4 games above 500, and then June hits, and it just all goes down the crapper, and then they sort of recover in July. August, it's too late at that point.
Yeah, no.
It's a little scary too that Lindor's batting 200. Conforto in a contract year is not doing that great. I guess that just shows that the Mets depth is there. But, you sign Lindor this big contract, you expect higher standards.
Yeah, he's been doing better as of late. I think he's averaging at least a hit. He's getting at least on base a couple times. I know he had a nice double the other day in Miami. But overall, I would agree that he has not lived up to the expectations that we expected from him. But
well, you got to think, it took Stanton till year 3 really now to start hitting in New York. Lindor's a far better player than Stanton is. He flat out is. You'd expect it to be a little bit quicker, but there is still an adjustment period.
Yeah, and it's still, you got 11 years on this contract now. It's going to be a long time. And if he takes one slumpy-ish year like this one compared to 11 great years or good years, like I'm fine with, getting used to New York.
Cohen said he wants to win within 5 years. There is a window that he wants to win for.
Got to give credit to Donnie.
Donnie Stevenson, baby, the hitting approach coach. You're ripping heaters with Donnie out here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's the Donnie they're talking about.
No, it came out that it was Pete. All fun and games. But it
busted his ass on the one Mazika walk-off
against the Orioles.
Yeah,
Mazika. Well, Justin doesn't care about that. He just looks for development. No, it's not stupid. You look for development, not wins.
No, Mazika's a clown.
He walked you guys off.
Yeah, he's a clown.
Fielder's choice. Yeah. Not a walk-off. It was a fielder's choice.
Was it not a walk-off?
He barely put the ball in play.
Did we not walk off the field with a win?
Mancini gave a good throw. Guillorme is gunned out at home.
Yeah. Hey, man, he beat cancer. Hey, Trey's been tearing up in May.
Yeah.
You can't even deny that.
No, he has been.
He's also the league leader in RBIs.
Justin's been quiet since the Orioles are stuck in last place.
It's a waste of energy.
It wasn't the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, because we won a few games.
No, he's been doing good too.
I'm in my hole. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you guys. It's Happy Harvey Day today, so
Oh God.
I know. We got a little bit of smacked around the last couple of games ever since he came back to New York.
Last 3 games.
That's what happens when you come back to New York.
Even make it out of the second inning in one start.
Hunter Harvey?
No, the other terrible Harvey on the Orioles roster. But let's talk about Shohei Ohtani, because he's living up to the hype when he first came over from Japan as being, the Japanese Babe Ruth. Came in, he hit a lot, won AL Rookie of the Year, but he had to be sidelined with Tommy John, but he still played through it as hitting, couldn't throw. But now we're seeing the true two-way player of him pitching and hitting at the same time. For a while, he led the league in home runs. He's at 13 already. We see him hit basically every single day in the 2-hole, even when he's pitching now. And he has a sub 2.5 ERA. I don't think he's going to win Cy Young at this point because there are better pitchers, Garrett Cole, John Means, ERA-wise and other statistic-wise, than Ohtani right now in Cy Young. But he's making a case for himself to be AL MVP offensively and as a pitcher.
110% on this one. I'm all in on the MVP race for him. I was thinking about this even at the beginning of the season. Like, if he produces on both sides, pitching, hitting, which he has been doing, man, it's very hard to not pick him for American League MVP. I know Trout was always the favorite, and Trout's out for a couple weeks now, so that's going to ruin his little momentum. But man, he's doing unbelievable stuff I've never seen watching baseball my whole life.
Literally, stuff people haven't seen in 100 years.
Exactly. It's very hard to not put him in at least the conversation. I think he's going to get it, but I think you have to at least put him in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy that can hit a 450-foot home run and then the next inning go out and pitch 3 straight 100-mile-an-hour heaters down the plate. I mean, it's awesome, and it's funny, that the Angels were the one that got him, because it's like every big market team was gunning for him, and he goes to the Angels. But like Clark said, it does help that Trout is hurt, so it kind of will probably push his odds a little bit more. This is a team with 3 superstars now, and if they can get pitching, I mean, I know they have Dylan Bundy. He's bad. I know they have Alex Cobb.
He's bad also. They have Jose Quintana and Julio Teheran, I think, still. Like, I think that's their rotation. Like,
Fletcher, Walsh, Rendon, not terrible.
Like, their 2 through 5 hitters are really good.
And the rest is just garbage. Garbage. Straight.
What about Mike Trout? Is he not good?
No, he's their 3 hitter.
Is he? I thought he was their leadoff.
No, I think it goes Fletcher, Ohtani, Trout, Walsh, Rendon.
That's fantastic. Then the rest of the team is just dog. It's garbage. Brutal. It's bad. It sucks too, because the amount of talent that's on that team you don't see on an everyday ball team. You really don't, and they're just wasting their potential, which sucks.
It's because of pitch, and they trade for Raisel Iglesias from the Reds. Okay, fine, they have a closer now, but they have no middle relief pitching, and it's just so sad how they're wasting away. I saw a tweet where it's like, Ohtani throws 88 pitches and plays the outfield, and people think he's the GOAT. It's like, I've been doing that in Little League in high school.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's insane.
Well, that's now they're even keeping him in the game after he pitches, and he's just going to go play right field now.
Yeah.
Like, that's just awesome.
It is. And another thing, like, I know we started this whole podcast talking about, the mainstream of baseball and all that stuff and old-fashioned views.
This is great for baseball.
I think that baseball, the networks, ESPN, anything, they need to take advantage of this guy. They need to broadcast this guy Sunday Night Baseball. Anytime the Angels have a night game, put it on to national television.
Well, that was why the first Sunday Night Baseball game was the Angels and the White Sox, and that's where he struck out the side and then turned around out of the 2-hole and hit a solo bomb over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He is awesome. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Like even as a whole, like, Mike Trout's obviously the best player in baseball. One of the greatest of all times. If you see Mike Trout walking down the street, a normal guy, you're not going to recognize who it is. Oh, it's a big, tall, muscular dude. Look at that guy. He probably works out. But if you see LeBron walking down the street, or you see Tom Brady walking down the street, you're going to recognize that guy. That's the problem with baseball right there. You don't recognize the guys.
Well, the thing is, Trout's on the wrong LA team.
You could say that, but there's the way TV works nowadays. There's no excuse.
No, he needs to be on. The Angels need to be on every, like, MLB Network. They need to be on it.
Yeah,
every night.
Even if it's a 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock afternoon game, whatever, just throw them on TV. That's fine. But that's far from the subject we're talking about with Ohtani right now. But I'm sorry, you got off track.
No, that's fine.
But they need to do something about,
it's marketability.
That's the word.
It's really what it is. And that's why Trevor Bauer does great things and acting like an ass. You need more of that. You need personality in the game.
Yeah.
And this is the rare case that the Japanese superstar works out. I mean, you look at the past few. I mean, Tanaka was supposed to be a god. Solid, never lived up to that potential.
Good MLB career.
Yep. Yusei Kikuchi with the Mariners. Terrible. Awful. Giovanni Tsugo with the Rays now. He just got traded. That's how
the Dodgers. Terrible.
Matsui was good. Obviously, Ichiro's a Hall of Famer. But other than that, I mean, we've seen so many guys over the year like, oh, this guy's going to come in. He dominates Japanese baseball. He's going to come in and destroy the MLB. And Ohtani's working out. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah. So, last point, the Minnesota Twins, who were one of the favorites to win the AL Central and go on a little playoff run, they've been building a nice little squad for a while. They've really hit the wall and they're falling apart. Byron Buxton, who's hurt, I believe, still.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of veterans, Donaldson, Ayrton Simmons, Nelson Cruz. You have Garver, you have
Kepler.
Garver has kind of taken a big step back since his breakout year in 2019. It's time for them to consider selling, I think, at this rate, because they're 16-29, which is worse than the Orioles. It's
Congrats.
head. The Royals are turning it around. The Indians are a mess. The White Sox, though, they're the White Sox. They're running, and the Tigers are a fledgling flaming pile of crap. But, it's time, I think. This team's kind of run its course almost.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson Cruz, he's in his 40s. You can get an AL team to bite on him to get some pieces. And he's still a monster. Donaldson, 4-year, $92 million contract. I mean, about 241, 5 home runs. He's injury prone. You can get rid of him. That'd be great. Kepler's a young outfielder, the German. He's pretty solid. Alex Kirilloff's been good this year. But other than that, I mean, Buxton, I don't even know how Jose Berrios has been doing. Other than that, I mean, they're not doing that great.
Donaldson fell off, I feel like, a little bit, too.
Oh, absolutely. He had a good year with Atlanta, got the contract, and it's just been slow decline.
That's a shame. I used to really like him, too.
I
understand why you hate him. We could same division and all that, but I used to really like him. That's just sad to see careers die like that, too. But you gotta sell some of your guys out there, prepare for the future, start that rebuild going on. Obviously, it didn't work. We were talking about, but gotta start.
The only thing that can save it is if they have just an absolutely awesome June. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Because then by July 1st rolls around, you have 30 days to decide if you're blowing it up or moving on.
If you're not third place or higher by July 1st, I think you got to sell.
If they're not hovering around 500, they got to sell.
Yeah, and like you said at the beginning of this conversation, Justin, that's a tough division too. That's a very tough division.
The Royals turned it around rather quick and quietly. The White Sox aren't slowing down anytime soon.
No, and Cleveland's been surprisingly good too. It's rough. It's very rough. So it'll be rough for them to turn it around. I don't think they'll do it, but you got to start selling your guys out, I think.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this podcast. That was fun talking a little bit of baseball. We'll be back later on in the week, probably an NBA one, maybe an NFL one, maybe another baseball one, and we'll probably do a wrestling one sometime down the line as well. Yeah, because there's some news in wrestling world. So, always. Clark, where can people listen to those whenever we do them?
First, I got to thank everybody for listening to this episode of the Sports Department Podcast. We appreciate it. Joe and Jesse appreciate it. Make sure you guys follow us on our social medias on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at SportsDepthPod. That's Sports DEPT Pod. We got, like Justin said, all that fun stuff that Justin said, all the sports and stuff, baseball, basketball, football, wrestling. So if you don't want to miss any of those, also we're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. So stay tuned to all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next episode.